Hey guys, what is up? Mike here. Thanks for tuning in to another video. In this video, I want to outline what I consider to be the ideal career path for a product designer slash entrepreneur. Okay, and me doing this, I'm hoping that you see yourself somewhere in this path that I'm about to outline, and it just gives you something to think about, right? Gives you something to visualize and see where you are and where you could potentially go. All right, now that I'm over 40, I look at things from a bird's eye perspective. I look at things a little bit more, I'm a little bit more wise, right? Wiser than I was when I was 20 years old. I was reading something in Think and Grow Rich, and it talked about you really don't hit that ideal mentality in your mind, like you're not wise until you are over 40. And I know cats who are my age, over 40, you know what I'm talking about, right? We see things differently than when we did when we were 19, 20. Obviously, it's obvious, right? You have different. When I was 19, my dream was to just drive in a Toyota Camry, right? Because when I was catching the bus, my ideal situation was, man, I'll be rich if I can get a house with a pool and whatnot, right? And now that I'm over 40, we have different perspectives on things, right? I want you, because what's interesting, why this topic came up, because I talk to so many people at so many phases in their careers. Folks who are beginning, folks who are already have a job, folks who are my age, and so forth, and beyond. And so I want to outline these 5 phases that I consider in this career path, identify where you are, and get motivated on the potentials on where you can go. So the first phase, if you look at my hand here, the first phase is where you don't have any skills in product UI design, UI UX design, okay, and you want to get started. This is where I touch with a lot of people who watch my videos. You want to get started. I shot a video about this not a few days ago on how to get started. Okay, you want to get started in this industry, in this field. This is where you are right here. Okay, you don't have any skills, and you basically have to learn the skills and just grow. Okay, so you're at the beginning phase. That's the person with no knowledge. Okay, then you get a little bit of knowledge. You come here, and now you're in between a beginner and someone who has a job. This middle finger here, think of this person who has a job. So right here, this is where you're freelancing and you don't have a full-time job, and you have some skills. You know how to do Photoshop, you know how to do UI design, you know how you built some websites, you fiddled around with different tools and whatnot, whether it's WordPress or Webflow or whatever. You built some websites, but you're still at a beginning stage because you're not making any decent money, and in my opinion, you don't have a foundation. Okay, at this phase, you should be working night and day in building your portfolio and applying to 10 jobs a day. Okay, because you want to get here. All right, this phase is when you've landed a job. All right, and also just remember, there's different levels. When you get to a particular stage, you can stay at that stage for several years. You can stay at this stage for 10 years if you're not aware. Okay, this phase, you can stay at this phase for. When I first got my job, the first company I stayed with was 8 years. Okay, I'm still at this phase as well, but I'm not on these 2 phases as well, which I'll talk to in a second. But this phase is when you have a job. That's when you're making around $45,000 and beyond, upwards of up to $150,000, right? As a product designer, okay, depending on your experience. Now, at between $150,000 and $200,000, that's where is more managerial material. So if you become more of a director and things like that, that's where you could stay in this phase and make between $150,000 and $200,000, okay? But for the most part, you're looking at around between $45,000 upwards to around $150,000, okay? That's where you kind of max out as a product designer, all right? And then beyond that is managerial. So you're at this phase, okay? Now, this phase right here, the middle finger phase, but when you're at this phase, in my opinion, that's where you have some sort of a good foundation to build upon these other 2. All right, when you're at this phase for a few years, this is where you should be tapping into this phase over here, and that's your entrepreneurial career. All right, this is where, in addition to this phase, you could be tapping into your entrepreneurial career and start earning supplemental income, right? In addition to this, okay? In my opinion, after 3 to 4 years or so, 2 years or so, you should have enough experience to start. In my opinion, this phase includes a lot of things. It includes, in my opinion, you start to grow and build your brand as an entrepreneur. Okay, you should be teaching people all the things you know. You should be starting a YouTube channel. You should be sharing your advice to folks at this level, all right? Why? Because it's going to do many different things. It's going to help you become a strong digital marketer. It's going to help you gain confidence in becoming an entrepreneur. Now, when you have people start thanking you for sharing your advice into getting here, you got a job now, and now you're helping people get a job. I mean, it's gonna open up your world. It's gonna just make you feel so good about yourself that you're helping people, but at the same time, you're leveraging those skills and things that you learn day to day to help you become a stronger digital marketer / entrepreneur, right? So here is where you can help people. You can also sell informational products like I do and become a strong digital marketer. You can also take the leverage the networking stuff, resources that I talked about in my last video, like people like in your office, right? And you can grow and build an app, right? Like I mentioned, you know, there's many folks that works for a company that left that company to start their own startup and build their own app, right? So you can do that at this phase here, or you can become a digital marketer. Like you see Tai Lopez. Tai Lopez out right now, he's one of the top digital marketers in my opinion. He's genius in terms of like persuasions and whatnot. Most of the time people say it's a scam, basically because he's persuading people to click into his ads through his Ferraris and Rolls Royces and things like that. But he's basically selling informational products. He's not doing anything criminal. He's genius at persuasion and digital marketing. You know, he has a huge funnel and he has really persuasive advertising and things like here in my garage, and check out my mansion here, and he's persuading people, bringing them in and saying you could generate wealth as well, but he's selling informational products, right? There's nothing wrong with that. So that's where he is here. Now, when you get from this phase to this phase to where you start making extra money on top of your job, in my opinion, you can do several things. You can quit your job if you want, if you're making enough money. But at this point, you want to be in this area so that you can grow your income, right? And now you have money to save. You have extra money on top of your normal expenses and leisure activity. You know, you have at this phase, you have a foundation where you can get married and have kids and own a home and things like that. But now when you get into this area, now you can stack the money a little bit higher. Okay, so now you're making extra money on top of just the normal everyday life expenses. Okay, that's where the entrepreneurial stuff comes in. So many people don't do this. They stay here and you're living check to check and you just think, I'm just gonna retire with my 401k. You don't want to do that. You want to go over here and here. Here's where you get into that entrepreneurial world, build your app, start a company or whatnot, sell informational products, build your brand, become a digital marketer, etc. And here is where you take it to the next level. The money that you build with these two, you want to start investing your money. Okay, right now, my wife and I, we're getting into investing in real estate, okay? And I see my future, that's where I see my future in investing in real estate. And I'm gonna be teaching that. I can see myself teaching that in the next 5 years. Because we've already doing some investing. We're learning a lot in that. We're working with big investors and stuff like that. We have a little bit of cash that we're starting to dabble into making our money grow grow while it just sits there in the bank, right? So investing in real estate, in my opinion, some people will say stocks, right? But one of the most I think that one of the biggest ways to grow wealth and be on top of it and have control of it is through real estate, in my opinion. I don't do stocks right now, so maybe one day I'll add another tier to this and I'll invest in stocks, but a lot of people invest in stocks. My thing is investing in real estate. And that's my passion right now. So I see this career path as something that you can look for and say, when I get that job, I'm going to start looking to go here, right? Build my brand, teach people the things that I know, you know, maybe start a YouTube channel, sell informational products, become a digital marketer, right? Earn extra money, maybe build an app, right? Start my own little business, okay? Once I generate that money, go here. You want to read, like, what is it, Rich Dad Poor Dad, where it talks about, you know, assets and liabilities and whatnot, and let your money grow and work for itself, as they say, right? And that's how you can continue to build your wealth and grow your financial freedom in that aspect. But this is my career path, so this is what I will continue to teach and preach on, because maybe if I was starting out very early, what I do, I mean, this is what I love, and so this is what I teach now. And so if you're on this path at whatever point you are on, think of where you are in this journey and see the potential that you can get from it. Because I think with the skills that you learn in product design, UI, UX design, it's invaluable that you can take here, and then with the money that you make here, you can go there and start to invest and continue to grow your wealth. Anyway, that's my thoughts on my ideal career path and what I see for myself and see for many others. Think about where you are in your career path and get motivated on where you could potentially go. Hopefully this was inspiring to you, and this kind of opened your eyes to certain things. And if you like the things I talk about, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and as always, if you want to learn more about product UI design, getting into UI UX design, visit my website mlwebco.com and use the contact link on my site to shoot me any questions. I'll be happy to answer anything for you guys. Till next video, talk soon. Peace.